When you do your initial walkthrough, is it the same day as your first cleaning, or are those two separate days? That is a great question, and we're going to talk about that today. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, today's show is brought to us by housecleaning360.com, and that is a hub that partners homeowners with house cleaners and home service providers. And one of the home service providers that we have in our network are people who run errands for you. They go out and they do your shopping, they pick up your mail at the post office, they pick up your dry cleaning. If you need something at the hardware store, they bring that back to you. And they bring it to you so that as a small business owner or as a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad, that you don't have to pack up all the kids and leave and go run your errands. They do your errands for you, they bring them to your house, and lo and behold, you just write them a check. It's awesome. All right, so if you have a business that does this, you can list your services on housecleaning360.com so that friends in my network can find you. All right, on to today's show, which is about a house cleaner who wants to know if the initial walkthrough is on the same day as the cleaning or if they are two separate days. Okay, so there are two schools of thought. And what it comes down to is how are you bidding for your job? So if you bid by the hour, that's different than if you bid by the job. There's a whole school of thought in the house cleaning industry of house cleaners who like to make it a big production. So they go and they do a walkthrough and they have a welcome packet. And they like to build a lot of rapport and tell stories and chit chat and get to know the customer and walk through the customer's house and find out all these amazing things about the customer. And then they go home and they put together a proposal. And then they email the proposal to the customer. And they wait a couple of days and then they may follow up with the customer and the customer may follow up with them first. And they start texting back and forth. And when would you like to start your cleaning? And was my pricing okay? And it's this big production. Then there's another school of thought, and it's a minimalist school of thought. And this is one of the things that we teach in our Savvy Cleaner training for house cleaners starting out in the business. When you start out in the business, we start out charging by the hour, not the job, because you're new, you're inexperienced, and there are a lot of things you don't know to look for. And so I don't want to send you in to bid a job when you have no idea what you're looking for. So if you're just getting started in the business, you know what an hour is. It's 60 minutes worth of time, and it's worth X amount of dollars. So for this particular example, we will say it is worth $25 per hour. So you're going to charge $25 per hour, and because you're charging by the hour, it doesn't matter how clean or how messy the house is, or how many hours it's going to take to do the job. So we just removed all of that excess stuff that you don't even know yet because you're new to the business. So a customer calls you up on the phone. What do we know about customers who call us up on the phone? They call us because they need, ta-da, house cleaning. Yes, it's awesome. Okay, so they call us, and one of the questions that we ask, it's a qualifying question. We ask them, how long has it been since your home was last professionally cleaned? Now, if it was cleaned 2 weeks ago, we know that they are due for another cleaning. And if it's been 6 months, they're still due for another cleaning. So what we can say is this: listen, I charge $25 an hour and I have 4 hours on Thursday. Why don't I swing by? I will take a walk through your house with you. If we're a good fit for each other, we will start the clock right then and I can showcase my work and see if we are a good fit for each other. If at the end of the 4 hours, and the 4 hours is all you have, so that's all you're going to sell. It doesn't mean you're going to clean the whole house, and it doesn't mean you're going to do a deep cleaning on the whole house, and it may take 3 or 4 deep cleanings before you get their house up to your standard of excellence. But let me come over for 4 hours, we'll see how far we can go, and it will only cost you $100. If at the end you're not satisfied with my work, I have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. I will turn around and leave, and there's no charge to you whatsoever. But if you do like my work and you see that we're a good fit for each other, we'll pull out our calendars and we'll go ahead and we'll block you in for a regular cleaning. How does that sound? And people are like, well, that sounds pretty good. Now, in the worst case scenario, they get their house cleaned and they're not happy and they pay no money. Wow, see, that's not very bad. And in the best case scenario, they get their house cleaned and it costs them $100 and they have a new house cleaner. See, that's not very bad either. So my suggestion is you're going to take time out of your schedule to go over there and do an estimate anyway, right? But what is an estimate? An estimate is you selling yourself to the customer. So if you're going to sell yourself to the customer, why don't you showcase your work? Why don't you say, hey, I'll bring all my cleaning supplies. You can watch me. You can see how I do what you just recommended. And they can either stay or they can leave or whatever. It doesn't matter after your initial walkthrough. But then what that gives you is the opportunity to go make a new friend, to make a new client, and to showcase your work in hopes of getting the job. It's like the audition at its ultimate form. All right, so my suggestion would be if you are one person and you are doing this business and you charge by the hour, my suggestion is that you partner them together so that you have a walkthrough followed by a cleaning at the same time. Now, if you are a business owner and you send other people out, you're going to have a different program. And we will talk about that in another episode. But I did want to let this particular house cleaner who happens to be starting out know that there's an easy way to do the business. Because you don't want to spend an hour, 2 hours of your time driving across town, meeting a person, doing a bid, and you kind of don't even know what you're doing. And then you come home and you hope you get the job, and you may never hear from them again, but you've invested an hour or 2 hours of your time, and you've taken that time from the customer. So it's a way to partner it together so everybody gets the most use of their time and resources. Alrighty, that's my 2 cents for today. And until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.